Station, WTIM.
More of the WTIM morning show here on your information station. While it's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, you're putting people first, as well as Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. Joining us in this segment, and thank goodness he is, Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration. Jack, good morning to you, sir. How are we?
Good morning, Grayson. I'm doing well, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing all right if I could get my words out. And so thankfully I've got you on the other end to help cover that regard, because I don't know what just happened right there. But Jack, it's great to talk to you after I did not hear from you last month. I think everybody is going to totally understand why that was the case, having had a federal government shutdown. Jack, now that things are back up and running, are we doing all right on that end? We're not behind or anything like that? How are we?
The good news is we were still working. It did affect my ability to come on the air and do the radio, because certain types of activities are not accepted or able to be done during a shutdown. But
Jack, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Nope. We've got you back. We lost you for just a second there. I apologize.
Okay. Well, and I said I can survive. I meant to say I can hear you.
Well, I definitely am glad that you can survive, and I'm definitely glad that you can hear me right now. But I was thinking about it, and it was just like, hey, let's throw that out there for just one moment. I'm glad to hear that things were still, kind of status quo without obviously being as status quo as we might have liked. But it is great to hear from you here today. And to start things off, Jack, you've got some pretty exciting news when it comes to the Social Security's homepage and some changes that have been made. What changes have been made?
Yeah, we talk a lot about the SSA.gov website. That is our homepage, and it's an excellent way to do business with Social Security. But recently, we have refreshed it, so we've got a redesigned homepage. So if you haven't been there in a while, I would encourage SSA.gov. Check it out. It's a little bit more user-friendly. It kind of breaks things down a little differently. One of the nice highlights, Grayson, is you and I talk a lot about how you can create your own personal My Social Security account, which is, your individual portal, if you will, to Social Security, and it's how you can see your own personal info and do a lot of different things with us. Well, now we've made that part front and center. So as soon as you get to the website, you'll very easily see how to sign in or create an account. Another thing that's kind of nice is once you get to that sign in or create an account page, if you want some help with it, you've got links right there on how to do it. I don't know about you, but when I need to do something I don't know how to do, I always turn to YouTube. I figure somebody's put a video out there on how to do it, and I'm very thankful for those types of videos. We've got those types of videos now on how to create a My Social Security account. So you can check out the YouTube video on how to do it with login.gov or how to do it with id.me, because you've got two different options. So those are real helpful. And again, front and center on the homepage. But then we also have broken things down into, I guess, what we'll call, like milestone type things or life events, if you will. So if you're hitting a certain age, for example, you can look at that. If you're kind of looking to our website because of a change in your health and maybe you're thinking about disability, you can click on that life event. If you're looking at something like a legal status change, maybe naturalization ceremony, and you want to see what you need to do with Social Security, you can click that. Or personal information like name change, things like that. We've got things organized in those columns, if you will. And so, a lot of times when people go to our website, they're getting there because of one of those life type events. And now we've got that stuff organized for you. So it's very handy to find what it is you're looking for when you get to SSA.gov.
Well, as a couple things there that you mentioned, I'm a big YouTube guy, whether that's for videos that help me or videos that just entertain me. But also in that regard there, that My Social Security account is certainly one of the best ways of keeping track. But it sounds like this improved homepage is also going to help you be able to do so. So it's just kind of going along and kind of cleaning things up and making it a little more user friendly. I'm really glad to hear that, because hopefully that will mean, just more ease when it comes to actually using the website, especially for those as they climb in age a little bit there. So Jack, that is a look at that new homepage. that is going out or has been gone out and been rolled out. Excited for that for you. In terms of some other things that you've got for us here today, you wanted to pass along some information to our veterans and some of those active duty military members. What do you got for those folks?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the latter part of November. Obviously, we're, on the cusp of Thanksgiving, but I do want to point out that Veterans Day was earlier this month. We celebrated that on November 11th. And so it's just a good time in the month of November and really all the time to think about our veterans who have served our country and risked their lives to protect us and, just be grateful for those sacrifices. And one of the things that we do at Social Security as a thank you to our veterans is we expedite their applications for Social Security disability benefits under certain circumstances. And it's important to note, Grayson, that Social Security disability is not the same thing as VA disability. So you may qualify for VA disability as a veteran, but that doesn't automatically mean you'll get Social Security, nor does it automatically mean that you've applied for Social Security disability. So you probably want to look into both programs if you're a disabled veteran.
Okay.
And one of the ways we expedite Social Security disability applications is if you have a 100% permanent and total rating from the VA. So if your disability compensation rating from VA is 100% permanent and total, tell us about that when you apply for Social Security disability, and we can expedite your application. Just get you a decision faster. And then the other way is through something we call our Wounded Warrior Initiative. And basically what that boils down to is if you became disabled, developed some kind of disabling condition while you are on active duty on or after October 1st of 2001, tell us about that, and then we will classify your case as a wounded warrior case. And like I said, what we'll do is we'll just move it to the front of the line essentially and get you that medical decision as fast as we possibly can. Again, just as a thank you for the service to this country and the sacrifices that you've made as a veteran.
Well, Jack, if we're going to push anybody to the front of the line, I think veterans would be some of those first people to do so. So interesting note there and a pertinent time to talk about such a deal as if you get that 100% permanent and total rating from the VA, that just kind of helps as well. Like, okay, we can move them along and get that done that much quicker. So I'm glad we got to stop and chat about that for just an additional moment. But you've got so much to talk about here today. I do want to move to our next point, and that is Medicare open enrollment. What's going on right now, and how long is that going to run through?
Yeah, so we're in the midst of an open enrollment period for Medicare right now. It started October 15th and runs through December 7th. Now, what that's for, it's not really directly related to Social Security, Grayson, because we do have a role in Medicare. When it comes to enrollment, what we do is Medicare Part A and Medicare Part B enrollments. This particular enrollment period that's going on right now through December 7th is for people who are already enrolled in Medicare but want to make a change to maybe the prescription drug plan that they're in, which is Part D. Perhaps they want to change the Medicare Advantage plan that they're enrolled in, or maybe they want to make a change to the supplement that they're in. So basically these other types of coverage that you get through private insurance companies that help supplement the regular Medicare coverage. If you're interested in changing that type of plan, you do that now through December 7th, and then that change would be effective January 1st of 2026. Now, you don't have to make a change, but it is a good time to take a look at the plan that you're in, especially to see if there are going to be any changes to that plan for 2026. And then if you want to make that change, now is the time to do it. If you want to figure out where you can get information on that, Medicare has a great website, medicare.gov. You could also call them at 1-800-MEDICARE. And then the state of Illinois has some services through the Illinois Department on Aging, specifically the Senior Health Insurance Program. And you can get in touch with them by calling 1-800-252-8966.
Okay. Well, Jack, you mentioned in there that you do have somewhat of a role in Medicare. I know that we obviously have other things we want to talk about here today, but I'm wondering what roughly is that role?
Yeah, so basically our main role is going to be enrollment into Medicare Part A and Part B. So when you want to first get signed up for Medicare, you do that through Social Security. You're going to enroll in Part A, enroll in Part B through Social Security. If you are already collecting a Social Security payment as you approach your eligibility, there are a couple different ways, and we won't dive too far down the rabbit hole right now on that, Grayson. But if it's age-based Medicare, for example, that would be age 65. So if you're already collecting a Social Security payment as you approach age 65, you will automatically be enrolled in Parts A and B of Medicare. You'll get your card in the mail, and then you'll have to get signed up for what other types of Medicare, like Advantage plan or a drug plan or a Medigap plan that you want to go with that. If you're not yet collecting a payment from Social Security and you want to get enrolled in Medicare at age 65, then you would do that through Social Security. You would give us a call, 800-772-1213, or go to the website, ssa.gov, and enroll. You'd file a claim to do that to get enrolled in Part A and Part B. And we'd get you started with that. You can start Medicare without starting your monthly Social Security. You can also start Medicare Part A without starting your Medicare Part B if you want. You know, sometimes if you're still working and covered by a group health insurance plan, or your spouse is working and you're covered by their group health insurance plan, you might want to hold off on Part B till later. And you can do that and qualify for a special enrollment period later, as long as you can provide proof that you had that active employment or a family member had that active employment that covered you. And you can provide proof of both of those things from the time you turn 65 until you're trying to get in. So a lot more information on that, though. If you go to ssa.gov and look at the Medicare section, you'll find out all you need to know about getting signed up for Medicare through Social Security.
Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much for humoring me there. I just was wondering, after you had mentioned that, it's just one of those things that stuck in my craw and had to ask you about it. Well, Jack, let's take ourselves a break. We're joined by Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration. Plenty more to talk about when we come back. You're listening to WTIM, your information station.
WTIM. Let's check the opening numbers now at the Chicago Board of Trade on this Wednesday. Jim Taylor, RFD Radio Network, a steady start with corn, beans, and Chicago wheat. December corn opening 424 3/4, up 1 1/4. March corn up 1 3/4. 440, and May corn 448 1/4, up 1 1/2. January beans starting the day 11.24 1/4, down 1/2 penny. March beans down 1 penny, 11.33 3/4. May beans 11.43 3/4, down 1 1/4. December wheat opening 5.26 3/4, down 1/2 penny. March wheat unchanged, 5.39 1/4, and May wheat 5.47 1/2, unchanged. December bean meal 3.1630, that's down 70 cents. December bean oil 50.40, up a dime. Opening numbers on this Wednesday morning. Jim Taylor on the RFD Radio Network.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. Time for Taylorville's 6th annual holiday decorating contest. Hi, we're the Kinnegar sales team at the Real Estate Group.
And I'm Jerry Poor with Advanced Title Group. We're excited to team up again to bring this fun community tradition.
With a $500 cash prize for the best decorated home and business.
Get all the details and sign up at kinnegars.com/holiday. That's KINNEYGARST.
And thanks for helping make Taylorville merry and bright.
Hey, Central Illinois, it's Big D.
And this is Bubba. What's up?
Hey, we're here to let you know that we're here to wake you up Monday through Saturday mornings on newcountry.fm as part of a great lineup of today's new country music. And you can hear us at 104.1 in Taylorville and the surrounding area.
Keep your radio on after the show and keep listening for today's country hits and the latest in artist news with our friend Carson, who hosts Country with Carson weekdays from 9 till 2.
And New Country FM doesn't stop there. You can find today's New Country at 104.1 the rest of the day and night.
We're proud to be a part of the great lineup of programming on New Country FM at 104.1 across Central Illinois.
Hope you'll join us for music, fun, artist visits, and so much more on the Big D and Bubba Show Monday through Saturday mornings on newcountry.fm.
Big D and Bubba. Trevor Huth here, and make sure to wake up with Big D and Bubba Monday through Saturday. They're at 104.1 on your radio dial. That is New Country 104.1.
Double your impact with sight and sound. Reach customers through our 6 regional radio stations. Plus, capture their attention with our 36 by 72-inch digital billboard right on Route 29 in Taylorville. That's nearly 11,000 drivers seeing your message every single day, while they're already listening to your radio ads. Ready to maximize your reach? Call your regional radio account manager today and put your business in front of eyes and ears across Central Illinois. Regional radio is where your message gets noticed.
Your information station. WTIM.
And we're back here with the WTIM Morning Show on your information station. It's brought to you by People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first, and Landmark of Taylorville. I'm your host, Grayson Bauman. We've got Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration, back around here in this segment. We talked a little bit about a few different things. Now we want to turn our attention to newlyweds, getting your name changed after this wedding season, as it's been quoted as. And Jack, what's going on? How do we make that name change?
Yeah, so that's an important thing to note right off the top, Grayson, is that if you have recently gotten married, first off, congratulations to anyone who did. But you probably had a ton on your plate, right? There's a ton of planning involved. You had a huge to-do list, and you get through the ceremony and you take a little bit of a sigh of relief because you've gotten through it. But I just want to remind you that there may be one more thing left, and that would be to update your name with Social Security if you've chosen to change your name. It is important that you get that updated so that we can make sure that your employer has the correct name, we have the correct name, the DMV has the correct name. You want to get all your records aligned so that you don't have any troubles down the road. And it's very easy to do it with us. You contact us, you want to start on our website at ssa.gov, and you can start there by looking at the card and record section right at the very top. You might even be able to do that whole process 100% through the website, but that's going to kind of depend on where you got married, because that's sort of a work in progress. We don't have the ability to verify marriage certificates in all states. Illinois is not one of them, but if you got married in another state, even if you live in Illinois and your marriage certificate is from another state, you may be able to complete that process all the way through the website. If not, you can at least get a good jump start. And ultimately, if you got to come in and show us your marriage certificate, you're going to need an appointment to do that. And doing the process through the website will even allow you to create that appointment. So you don't have to worry about calling in to do that. You can do that right through the ssa.gov website. Again, you want to look at the very top. The card and record section is where you're going to get started there.
Okay, so Jack, you're telling me there might be just one perk to having a destination wedding, because for everybody else it's horrible. But for you, there might be one perk that the state is going to get you that marriage license and almost kind of help in that process.
Yeah, it could be. It depends. Like, for example, if you chose to get married in Iowa instead of Illinois, we have that connection with them, so we could verify that certificate. Iowa, Missouri, Michigan, Wisconsin, if we're looking at border states to Illinois, we can verify in all of those. We can't do Indiana or Illinois. So, it just depends on where that took place. There are 21 total states where we can verify the marriage. So if you go into that ssa.gov card and record section, you can start through the process. It'll ask you questions. One of the questions is, what state did you get married in? And then from there, the website is smart enough to know, okay, you can do it online or you can start it online, and ultimately we'll need to make an appointment with your local office to bring that marriage certificate in.
Okay, perfect. Well, Jack, we are just about out of time here. I do have one quick question for you before I let you go. Is there a time frame in which I need to get that information to you if I've just gotten married?
There really isn't. The sooner the better is what I say, but there isn't really a deadline to do that.
Okay.
The last thing that I'll point out, Grayson, is we do it for free. So don't pay any third party. Don't Google it and then end up paying a third party to help you do this, because it's just going to be the same process. You're just going to pay someone else to walk you through it.
Okay. So no point. Let's go to the ssa.gov website and start to figure it out from there. Well, Jack, thank you as always for joining us here today. It's great to hear from you.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. And happy Thanksgiving to you, sir. We've got Jack Myers, Public Affairs Specialist with the Social Security Administration, joining us here on the WTIM Morning Show.
The Big 870 WTIM Assumption Taylorville. 96.1 FM Taylorville. 107.5 FM Shelbyville. 107.9 FM Pina Nokomis.